never seen anybody wealthy, but I noticed this. I noticed that every time my dad leaves, we move to terrible housing, and every time my parents get back together, we move into a nice house. So I'm noticing something. I don't get it, but I'm noticing. But from then on, my life changes permanently. I have to be from the school, because I walked to the elementary school I went to. I have to be from the school to my babysitting house by a certain time. And if I'm not, then something wrong. That's just suspicion. And that is a consequence of someone never recovering from something that happened. Things happen in life. They happen. You can't always control them. But if you don't recover from them, remember I said before, you'll live in that incident forever. That's what my mother did. So any and everything that happened that was outside of the norm or the parameters that she set, she related to something like that happening again. So it's like, I'm 7, now I'm 10 years old, my parents are back together, and I have a little sister. She's like, infant baby. I love my sister, she's the bottom. But she's like the mini me, she's a little chunky. But anyway, that's my home slice. Anyway, one day, prior to this one day, my parents split up again. This time, the accusation is that my father molested my little sister. This is the accusation. Now, my dad, so understand, the Bible says that I will visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the third and the fourth generation. What does that mean? That means that any issues that you don't address, the children will have to deal with. Because iniquity is the internal problem. The Bible was talking about Lucifer in Ezekiel 28, and it said, you were perfect in all your ways, so iniquity was found in you. He had not done anything yet, but iniquity was in him. So the Bible says, look, if you don't deal with the iniquities in your life that are present, the internal things that nobody knows about, that sometimes creep up in your behavior, then up to 3 to 4 generations after you are going to have to deal with it. So my dad, very depressed. Now I'm old enough to understand that he was depressed back then. But it wasn't his fault, because his father was depressed. I never knew my dad's father because my dad's father killed himself before I was ever born. So if anybody's ever wrestled with depression and suicide, I need you to see where I came from. So when you look at me now, you're like, man, you Bible study, that it wasn't always like this. So my dad's father killed himself, and my grandmother or his mother was very non-confrontational, so they don't deal with stuff. They don't ever talk about stuff. That's one of the reasons that I don't really talk to them that much. You ever talk to somebody and they're just so bland and general? That's how it is when I talk to them. They don't go in-depth about anything. Especially anything bad.
Very surface.
Now my dad's a little better with that. You really have a choice, because I'm going to talk about it anyway, whether you like it or not. So, they separate. Now, that was the speculation. But now my dad's gone, and somebody's still molesting my sister. He's gone. Now, my mother's so proud, she never thinks to go back and apologize to him about that. But obviously, either he's not the only one, or he wasn't the one, because it's still happening and he's gone. I told you, my dad never ran the house, never established authority at all. My mother always ran the house. She was always very dominant. So, for a big chunk of my life, I grew up emasculated, because I never saw a man. Never did. It was one present, but he wasn't manifested. He had all the tools to be one, but he wasn't one. So as a consequence, I didn't know how to be one. So as you meet guys who act crazy and don't know how to act like a man, it's probably because they've never seen one before. They've seen males, but if you're in a music video with gold chains and all these things, no accountability in your life, feeling and touching on women, cussing and drinking and all that stuff, that's not an example of a man. That's just a boy with a lot of money.
Indeed, that's good.
You get what I'm saying? So the reason that they act the way they act is because that's the only reference that they had for a male that's older than them. So now they think when I get 20, I'm supposed to act like they act. Because I used to think the same way. So my mom told me a story one time so I can understand you, how if you don't deal with depression, there are extremes. One of the extremes is you don't function. Everyday life becomes hard to function in. You find it hard to wake up. You find it hard to take a shower. You find it hard to do all these basic life things. It's possible. My parents were living together. My father became so depressed that my mother filed for child support while they were living in the same house and got awarded it by the judge.
Lord, that was crazy.
I don't know. Chesapeake. But they never separated from each other. They were in the same house. But he became so non-functional and depressed that he wouldn't do anything. I don't know if anybody's wrestling with depression. You know you might not, you may never tell me. But make the stance one to deal with. Because if you don't, it'll deal with you. And you'll find a whole bunch of people feeling let down in your life. And it's not that you don't want to help them. You just can't find the means to get out of this stoop that you're in. And there are things that happen in life that give you a valid reason to be sad. But don't stay sad. You got to have hope. So, parents separate, sister still being molested, and one day, walking home, I got my time scheduled to be home, but I'm talkative and I'm friendly. So I'm walking home with me, and I'll never forget his name. His name was JR. We started cracking jokes on each other. We joking on each other on the way home. And anybody that knows me knows I can talk. So we're joking and joking and joking, and time is just going and going and going and going and going. So I get home late, and my aunt's like, "Why are you late?" I tell her why. She didn't say anything. She just let your mother deal with it, you know. Now there's another issue with my family. I mean, kids lie, but don't be so cynical and mentally taken out that you just never believe them or are never convinced that they're telling the truth. But that's another thing that happened. That's why I say the things that happened in my life, even though they were painful, they were orchestrated by God. They had to be, because the stuff didn't make any sense. Like mother was like, well, and I told her, and it was like I was lying no matter what I said. But then when I lied, she believed me. I was like, what the heck is wrong with this bitch? I'm 10 years old, I can't say this. But it's like something's wrong because I'm lying and you believe me, and I'm telling the truth and you think I'm lying. Because the truth sounds too simple to believe. And some people are so cynical that the truth is hard to believe when it's not bad. She was so looking for something wrong that anytime I told her a story that didn't include me doing something I shouldn't have done, she didn't believe the story. That's scary. But there's people that live their life like that. They live their life in expectation that you're going to do something crazy, wrong, say something out of the order. And when you don't, they get nervous. Hold up, this ain't right. Something's wrong here. You're too nice. You're too nice, man. I'm sorry. You're just too perfect. I'm waiting. You got to do something great. And then when they do something wrong, because they're human, you're like, I knew it. No, you didn't know it. You're cynical. Really, they should be saying, dude, what's wrong with you? Why are you so freaking negative? But that's how my mother was. That experience that happened to me had scarred her so much so that she didn't believe anything other than that. She lived her whole life based around the reality that one of her children get molested. For the rest of her life, almost. So, anyway, somehow or another, we get to the topic of my sister. She's like, did you do anything to your sister? Because it's still happening. But my dad's gone. Why? We were the first suspects? I don't know. I was never alone with my sister. I was 10. She was a baby. There's not a lot I can do. I really don't feed her. And I'm a boy, so I'm really not interested in like mothering anybody. I'm like, I love you, you're my little sister, you're the bomb, but I want to play. So it was like never these moments, but she started asking. And she keeps asking, I keep telling her no. She just doesn't believe me. It just keeps going on for hours. I'm talking about minutes. I'm talking about from the time I got home from school to almost 9 to the o'clock at night. That's like 5-6 hours of asking me these daggone questions. So by that time, I'm just like, yes, I did. I don't know what else to say. Because my no is not enough. I say yes, I go take a shower, I get into bed. When I come out of the shower, I know some people in the house. That same crew of women that always show up for something. The same group. I go lay down. You know how you almost sleep?
Not quite.
But you ain't all the way asleep. That place that if somebody wakes you up, that's probably going to scare you and make you very upset. That spot, I was there.